From Washington, this is VOA News. South Sudan officials and rebels enter meetings with hopes of ending violence. In Egypt, police move to disperse Muslim Brotherhood supporters. I'm Vincent Bruce reporting from Washington. Delegates of the South Sudanese government and rebels trying to overthrow it met with regional mediators in Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa, Friday. There were no face-to-face talks, however. Now, as that process continues, VOA's Mohammed Yusuf reports fighting continued.
Away from the talks, fighting continues, with military clashes being reported around the rebel-held cities of Bo in Jonglei state and the Unity state capital Bentiu. Last week, the East African bloc IGAD urged both sides in the conflict to seize the small window of opportunity and begin peace talks. The five nations IGAD also warned the rebels led by former Vice President Riek Machar that they will not accept the unconstitutional overthrow of South Sudan's government. Bloodshed in the world's newest country erupted when renegade soldiers attacked a South Sudanese army headquarters on December 15th. President Kiir accused former Vice President Machar of a coup attempt. Mohammed Yusuf for VOA News, Nairobi.
The U.S. has ordered more evacuations of its diplomatic personnel because of the deteriorating security situation. More details at voanews.com. Reports from Egypt say as many as 13 people were killed among thousands of Muslim Brotherhood supporters on Friday. Egyptian authorities report police moved to disperse thousands of the supporters across the country. They say they were seeking reinstatement of ousted President Mohammed Morsi. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry met Friday with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and earlier in the day with Israeli Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman. Kerry remains hopeful for reaching a peace deal with Israel and Palestinian leaders. Kerry said a framework agreement would narrow differences between the two sides and provide guidelines for permanent negotiations.
It would address all of the core issues. It would create the fixed, defined parameters by which the parties would then know where they are going and what the end result can be.
The United Nations says violence and the lack of security in the Central African Republic is making it difficult to meet humanitarian needs. In a statement Friday, the UN Refugee Agency said looting, attacks against civilians, and the presence of armed groups at some shelters are hampering efforts to help those needing assistance. Carolina Lopez is the aid group's CAR emergency coordinator.
Right now, we are not able to provide the services that it needs. And it's because we decided to decrease our activities in the airport because we don't feel comfortable with these bullets coming into the camp.
The UN says nearly 1 million people have been displaced from their homes by the violence. Reports say congressional Democrats and the Obama administration are organizing a political campaign to restore financial benefits to more than 1 million Americans who have been out of work for more than 6 months. The emergency program, started during the recession, recently expired, cutting benefits that typically run about $300 a week for 1.3 million people. An overview of stocks in 2013. Prices in the United States and Japan rose sharply for the year. The rising prices were evidence of investors welcoming efforts to push down interest rates. Low interest rates help to reduce the cost of homes, equipment, and other goods. In the U.S., 11 reported deaths as residents dig out of heavy snowfall in the nation's northeast. The first snowfall of 2014 has mostly ended. However, dangerously cold temperatures remain, with wind chill temperatures across a wide area of the northeast plummeting to around minus 20 degrees Celsius. A new study says global temperatures will rise at least 4 degrees by the year 2100, and potentially more than 8 degrees if carbon emissions are not reduced. VOA's Roseanne Skirble has more.
The concentration of heat-trapping carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has climbed 40% over the last century. And the new study reports the Earth will continue to warm to dangerous levels. Stephen Sherwood is a climate scientist at Australia's Centre of Excellence for Climate System Science and lead author of the report. He says the prediction of a 4-degree warming is based on the role of water vapor in cloud formation.
What we see in the observations is that when air picks up water vapor from the ocean surface and rises up, it often only rises a few kilometers before it begins its descent back to the surface. And those shorter trajectories turn out to be crucial.
Sherwood says under this scenario, in which clouds do not form, the Earth would absorb more sunlight. Roseanne Skirble, VOA News, Washington.
Vincent Bruce, VOA News, reporting from Washington.